Hey, and we're so glad that you joined us today for Faith Chapel Student Services. My name is Alondio Hill. We are super excited about what God is going to do in your life in this short moment. So get ready and let's go.
But we're going to dive into it, y'all. So we're going to talk, and we got a special guest today. Our guest is Officer Martez Packer. Oh, y'all, hey, clap it up. Get some emoji claps in. Yeah. Get some claps in, y'all. There we go. I'm so excited. We're so super excited about this young man here. Oh my God. We're so excited about him. And we thank him for being here with us. Martez, he's going to talk on respect on a whole nother level. How to interact with the law enforcement. So on a whole nother level, how to interact with law enforcement. He's a officer. Martez, just a little bit about him. He grew up in Faith Chapel. Like he just grew up with the church, right, y'all? He's just been in our church for a long time. Got married, and he when him and his wife got married, they went and went to a church there with his wife's family, and so. But he still loves young people. So I'm not going to go into a lot of that about this man, but this dude is so incredible, so awesome. And we're so glad to have him today with us. Hey, Martez, what's up, man?
What's going on, Mr. Alondio, Faith Chapel students? What's up? Good morning to you all.
Good morning. Hey, y'all. We're so glad to have you.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. Hey, y'all, speak to him. Just say, hey, Martez. Well, Officer Martez. Just gotta speak to him, y'all.
Hey, Officer Martez. Hey.
Hey, Dr. Angela. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm so honored to be here this morning. Just like Minister Alondio said, I grew up at Faith Chapel. I mean, I was there. My parents brought me there when I was age of 2. So I grew up there. I stayed there. I'm from the Birmingham area, of course. Went to school in Bessemer, Homewood, graduated from Homewood High School. After Homewood, went to Jacksonville, graduated from Jacksonville, worked some jobs. And then 3 years ago, God put on my heart, hey, go ahead and do this police thing. So I'm from where you all are from. I've kind of done and seen everything that you all probably seen. So I'm glad to be here because I think we're going to have an awesome time. And I'm just so excited to share what God put on my heart regarding everything that we're experiencing in our world today, in our society, what you see on the news, what you're seeing on social media, what you and your friends may be talking about, you and your family may be talking about. I'm so excited. But I am, like you said, a police officer. I'm in the West Precinct, and I serve the areas of Ansley and West End, Roosevelt City, Wyland. I serve all the west side of Birmingham. So the west side of Birmingham, like I said, it's home to me. I'm from Ansley. So I'm glad to be serving in the area that I'm familiar with, where people know me, and where people feel like if I could go to any officer, I know I could go to Officer Packer, or I could go to Martez. He's going to steer me the right way. He's going to respect me. He's going to love on me. And that's what it is. So I'm so excited. We're about to get into this lesson, you all. And like I said, we're going to talk about respect on a whole another level, how to interact with law enforcement, police officers. And just to clarify.
Hey, Officer Packer.
Yes, sir.
So before you jump into it, I want to see in the chat, what thoughts, what do you all feel? You students, chat in if you're on Facebook if you're on Facebook Live or if you're on Zoom. What do you think about police officers? What you feel about them? You feel good about them? You feel and you can write that in there like UGH. Yeah, I see. I see somebody say, so just want to see what are y'all's thoughts about I see you. Okay. Okay. Somebody said, okay. SD Scoop, Coop, they cool, I guess. Okay. Somebody said in between. Okay. Yeah. Just want to see what y'all's thoughts are about them. Okay, cool. Got it. Nice. Thank y'all for talking to us. Appreciate it. Okay, Officer Martez, we believe there's something he will say that will help you with some of them, because all of them are not bad, right? All of them are not bad. So there we go, Officer Packer.
Absolutely. Make sure y'all chat it up with us. Make sure you send a chat and just say, hey, what's on your mind? What's on your heart? You got any questions? Because this is the time to ask. We may not be able to cover everything, but as of right now, we can cover some things. And maybe if we don't get to what you need an answer to, we can get to it later on. Amen. So also, just want to clarify, just so y'all know, Nelson Lanyo and Dr. Angela, I'm a real officer. I got the badge right here. This is me right here. This is my badge. So I'm a real officer. I'm not a rental cop, or I'm not some security guard. I'll be out in the streets driving a real patrol car, taking people to jail if I have to. So this is what it is. But we're gonna talk about respect, and y'all chime in on it. So we want to know what respect is. And respect is the act of acknowledging another person's worth. Basically, because of their position, it's honoring somebody regardless of their age. And disrespect is kind of like the opposite. It's kind of like, you failing. You don't even want to acknowledge them. You don't even want to acknowledge their worth. You don't want to give them the respect that they deserve. Now, we should give people respect, not based on whether or not we like them or not, but that's just the basic human right. Everybody deserves respect. And in this situation, what we're talking about today, it's like, well, we're talking about police officers. Some police officers don't respect me, so why should I respect them? And if you have that question, I understand. I'm not offended about it. The thing is, my goal is, for me personally, I want to see everybody go home safely. I want to see every student, don't matter how young or how old you are, God got a purpose for you. And I don't want it to be cut short because
come on,
you did, or something that may have ticked off that officer. Because like that badge I just held up, it's not, the badge doesn't mean that the person is bad. The badge only enhances or exposes what is already in that officer's heart.
Come on, Martez.
So, we gotta really, really understand that part, because we take that badge off, we take the clothes off, we take that gun belt off, we take them boots off. I'm just like you. I'm another black man in Birmingham, Alabama, just like you. So I don't see it as anything like that, but that's what respect is. We want you to understand where we're coming from, so you can make sure that you get home safely. So we're going to go over some things that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what is a police officer's role in our society. We've been seeing a whole bunch of things on the media, social media, like I said, but we're going to talk about it and interact with it today. We're going to talk about your interactions. Like I said, we want to make sure that you make it home back safely. I'm going to go over a little bit, most common things people come across on a police officer is a traffic stop. So for those of you who drive, I'm going to talk about it a little bit here and there. And for those of you who are not driving, that may just be in the back seat or whatever, what you need to do when you come across in the offices. And we're going to look at something real quick. I think it's going to really bless you all, really help you all today about students and police. Okay, we're going to go on right into it. So, what?
Hey, Martez, I have a comment on Facebook.
Go ahead.
That I think is kind of going into the direction. You may answer it later on down the road, but the comment was from Ms. Watson that her granddaughter said after George Floyd, her granddaughter felt like the officer should have just arrested George Floyd instead of killing him. she now feels differently about police officers. And so hopefully something you can say can help her granddaughter. Hopefully her granddaughter is watching this, or she's able to take something back to her granddaughter to give a different perspective that was just one or a group of officers, but that's not the whole totality of all officers.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll address that, and hopefully her granddaughter will understand that that's right. They should have just arrested him at the most, and then that should have been it. So we're actually gonna look at some videos to kind of like show how officers should be, and how officers should not be, and how officers should be. So we're gonna check out these videos real quick to kind of give y'all an indication of where we're going.
Okay, now this first video is it's a little graphic, so but you all probably watch stuff more graphic than this. All right, so I'm just saying we just want to be real with you. Maybe a little graphic, but you probably saw something more graphic than this. All right, here we go.
Sir, 10 for 3027. Are you doing okay? Do you mind stepping out of the road? Maybe.
No. What can I do for you? You can help, man. Okay, I'm here to help you. So just tell me what you need. You want a detox? So you want to go to the hospital? Okay.
All right.
Stop. You want to go to the hospital? Stop. All right. Stop. I understand. Stop. I don't want to say that. Stop.
They're going to take you to detox. Sir, Devontae, right?
Yes.
You want to go to detox?
Yes.
All right, you got to get in the ambulance with them if you want to go to detox.
No.
Back to the ambulance, right? No? Is he wanted? Anthony, relax. Anthony, relax. Anthony, give me your arm. Anthony. Step it up.
Okay, so that first video basically shows an officer from his body cam, which I wear as well. I know all about body cams. It shows an officer, the initial officer, trying to de-escalate a man who needs help. The man needs help. He's asking for help, but he's dealing with some things going on, and he's needing some space to calm down, some time to calm down. And unfortunately, the other officer that came out there to try to help, he ended up making matters worse, because unfortunately he used his taser to basically say, we ain't got time for this, let's go ahead and go. And that's not how you're supposed, that's not how we're as officers supposed to interact with the public. We're not to harm them or use force unless force is met with us. And the man was not being forceful with him, was he? He was not being harmful to anybody, was he? So that right there is a depiction of what an officer should not be doing. Just want to be clear. Now we're going to watch a video of how an officer should interact with someone.
This is the first time Officer Tim Purdy and 18-year-old Jeremiah Glover have seen one another since that dangerous day.
Long time no see. Yeah. You been doing all right? Yeah.
And this is the first time Jeremiah's mom has seen the now famous photo.
Wow.
And this is what happened.
This is 911.
May 12th, North Carolina, Charlotte. Jeremiah's mother calls 911 to report her autistic son missing. He's got a history of violence, maybe suicidal.
We were doing good, and I don't know what happened today.
Purdy, a 22-year police veteran's just starting his day. On the radio, he already hears two fellow officers have found Jeremiah, but he reads something else in their voices.
You know what? Let me just kind of head that way and see if I might be able to help out a little bit.
Driving up, he sees the officers physically struggling to restrain the team.
I pulled right here.
And senses it's about to go very bad. His next move is remarkable.
So as I approached them, I just kind of got down on my knees, you know, and tried to get to his level.
What did you talk about after that?
Football, the Panthers.
The explosive situation turned into a conversation. A fellow officer was so moved by the scene, he took a photo. It went viral.
So tell me this, was the getting down on his level training or something you have just learned?
Just something that I've learned over the years.
Jeremiah's distraught mom remembers racing up, fearing the worst.
The officer definitely was on his level, sitting with them, communicating, and my son was safe.
Purdy is overwhelmed by all of the attention, saying he knows other cops do similar things daily without any recognition.
There you go. Leave on a good one, brother.
What could have gone wrong has turned out more than all right, thanks to a police officer who showed up armed with compassion. Martin Savage, CNN, Charlotte.
So that video basically is how we should interact with the public. This video is very special to me because I used to work with people with special needs. I worked in that position for a while, and that's actually what prepared me, and I didn't know it at the time, that prepared me to do what I do now. Because we come across a lot of people that have mental issues, that are special needs. Actually, I got a call one time dealing with people who stay in a residential setting, and they were the people who I served at my last job. The clients were fighting each other, and because I had a relationship with them, everything was able to come all the way down. Nobody got hurt, nothing like that. So this is how officers should be, you all. I want you all to understand the real deal. This is the real deal. This is who you all want to see patrolling in your neighborhoods. This is who you all want to see in your schools. When you do go back to school, this is who you all want to be neighbors with, because people like that who have authority but has a great heart, they're gonna look out for your best interests. They're gonna look out for your best interests. And I use this video too on purpose because both of these videos, the officers are white Caucasian men, and it's a narrative going out there. All white officers, they here to bash black people, they here to kill our black men, and that's not true. I work with some great white officers. They're not from the neighborhood. They're not from probably even Birmingham. They may be from another state, but because of what's going on in our society right now, they get a lot of heat because of the color of their skin. And to me, that's racism. That's racism reversed from what we know. And I want you all to understand, don't look at just the badge, the uniform, and all this stuff. Look at how they treating you. Look at their heart. Look at how they responding to you. Look at how they're talking to you or talking with you. Okay, so we got to understand that because an officer may respond to you in a certain way, you make sure that you take responsibility as well for how you respond. We're going to look at the scripture, John 13, verses 34 through 35. John 13, verses 34 through 35. And it basically says, a new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. God gave us this command to love one another. It doesn't matter if we wearing a badge or we just out in the public or we're a student. It doesn't matter how old we are. If we're a believer in Jesus, we're Christians, God gave us that command to love. Absolutely, Dr. Andrews, we got to be responsible for how we respond. We got to be responsible to love one another. And by this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. That's a big if. We got to love one another. The officers got to love the people they pulling over in the car, and the people in the car got to love the officer. It worked both ways. So if we're not taking responsibility for our own actions, then we're basically asking for something else to happen. And we don't want something else to happen. We want to get out of this situation or go back home to our families or go back to doing what God is calling us to do. Because let me tell you all something. Every young student on here or every person on here, Facebook, Zoom, you all have a purpose. God gave y'all a purpose. And I don't want y'all purpose cut short. And I don't want you all to never fulfill the plan of God for your lives, because you, even if you may be dealing with a corrupt officer, do not give them any ammunition to do anything to you, because your life is precious. Your life matters. Your life does matter. And I'm a police officer, and I'm telling you this, your life does matter. And your life is valued by God. Amen. So
I love that. I love how you jumped in and said that, Martez, because oftentimes you can be in an environment, you can be in a home, you can be in school, and oftentimes other situations, other people can make you feel like you're not valuable. Other people can make you feel like you're not worthy. But I love how God just used you to encourage them. Someone with a badge, come on, someone with authority to speak into that young person's life and tell them, you are valuable, you are worth it. And that's you. I'm talking about you now, Officer Packer, want them to fulfill who the supreme authority, God. You want them to fulfill the vision, the plan, and the purpose that the supreme authority has already placed on the inside of them. So I appreciate you saying that. And I think it segued great into your next point, your next slide about how to respect and how to honor governing authorities. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. We want everyone, like we said, to fulfill the plan of God for their lives. And you, like this question stated right here, as a young person, as a student, interacting with police officers, you may be asking, what is my responsibility? And I'm glad you asked that, because you do have a responsibility. You have a responsibility in this whole process, and this whole thing that we deal with. You're going to have a responsibility. And it's in Romans 13, verses 1 through 4. It says, everyone must submit to governing authorities, for all authority comes from God. Amen. All authority comes from God. And those positions of authority have been placed there by God. So that means God placed the way the presidential, I don't know, my mind going blank right now, but the president, the Senate, the Congress, police officers, governors, mayors, God placed that. God placed that. It's placed there by God. Or let's bring it home a little even closer to home. Parents, your parents, God placed your parents, your grandma, your uncle, your foster parents, whoever take care of you, your teachers, your principal, anybody that's represent authority, God He placed them there. So verse 2 says, so anyone who rebels against authority is rebelling against what God had instituted, and they will be punished. And I'm not putting this scripture out there to get down on you all. I'm just letting you all know facts. If you rebel against authority, you're gonna be punished. If I don't do my job, guess what? I ain't gonna get paid. Then my wife not gonna like me. Then my dog, she can't eat. My little dog can't eat food because I'm not doing what my authority has put in place for me to do. And verse 3 says, "For the authorities do not strike fear in people who are doing right, but in those who are doing wrong. Would you like to live without fear of the authorities? Do what is right, and they will honor you. Do what is right, and they will honor you. Do what is right, and the authorities will honor you. Your mama told you to take out the trash? Take out the trash. She would keep giving you your allowance. You do what is right, you study for your test, you're gonna probably get a good grade. Then you keep doing that, it'll probably lead to some academic scholarships. You come across police officers, you do as they say. Don't start capping off at the mouth. Then everything gonna be okay. I promise it will. 9 times out of 10, it will. Verse 4 says, the authorities are God's servants. So I represent as one of God's servants. God's servants is not just ministers, people at church. God's servants are anyone who are in authority. We are really servants. And we're sent for your good. We're sent for your good. We're sent for your good. But if you are doing wrong, of course, you should be afraid, for they have the power to punish you. They are God's servants sent for the very purpose of punishing those who do what is wrong. So you must submit to them, not only to avoid punishment, but to also keep a clear conscience. We don't want you to just doing right and submitting to authority because you are afraid of them, but you ought to want to do right to make sure that your spirit is clear. God wants to use you, but he can't use you if you're out here doing wrong and then you out here looking over your shoulder every time because you're afraid of what may happen. And going back to police officers, and you interacting with police officers, if an officer say, "Hey, just keep your hands on the steering wheel, wherever you can see them, just put them on the steering wheel." If an officer says, "Hey, do X, Y, and Z," just do X, Y, and Z, because we want to, like I said, we want to make sure that you make it home. We want to make sure that you have a fulfilling life, and you can't do that if you're not around. There are bad police officers out here, and anybody who may have ever came across a police officer and they treated you wrong, or they did something to one of your loved ones, your friends, or something like that, let me just say I apologize, because they did not treat you right. They did not treat you right. But I want you to know this. Do what you're supposed to be doing. Make sure you're operating in love. Make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do, so you can be honored by God more than anybody else. By God more than anybody else. That's who we're supposed to be honoring anyway. We're not supposed to be looking at the person. Don't look at their badge. Don't look at, "Oh, I don't want to do this because, man, whatever, Toya." You know what they say, "Whatever, Toya." Yeah, you know what they say. Don't listen to all that. Do what you're supposed to be doing, because I want to see you fulfill the plan of God for your life, period.
Hey, Martez, that is so good. We had a question come in from the Daughtery family, and they asked a question. So if a teen is pulled over, because you're talking about authority, you're talking about how we should honor authority and we should do what the authorities say, right? And so we have a number of teenagers who are driving. We have some of them are first learning how to drive. Some of them have been driving for a while. And a parent asks, should the teen call their parent on the phone if they're pulled over, so that the parent can hear the encounter with the police officer? So should the teen put their parent on the phone as soon as they're pulled over by a police officer? What wisdom would you give that particular parent?
I would say that's fine. Tell your child your teen to call you let them know, tell them to put themselves on speaker so they can hear everything. Also, there's nothing wrong with recording. An officer cannot tell you you cannot you put that phone away, you can't record me. Now they could tell you to get off the phone from talking because they're not going to be trying to over talk whomever you're trying to talk on the phone. But if you want to, you can record, you can put the phone on speaker. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And then, so with that being said, so when should they get the phone? You know what I'm saying? So like if they putting their hand over, if their phone is over in the little cup holder, should they say, officer, I need to call my parent? Should they call the parent before? Like, because any type of mishap can make it look like they're grabbing for something other than a phone.
Right.
And like you said, we want them to go home and fulfill the plan of God for their life. But so we want to make sure that, you know, what's the best way to kind of navigate through that?
Well, each situation is going to be different. If an officer is already up on you at the door, then you may not have time to do that because you don't know how this officer is.
That's good.
Spend enough time to know how their heart is. You don't know if they're going to say, oh, they were reaching for a gun and I decided to hurt them. You don't want to give any room to do that. If they haven't made it out of their car yet and they're not walking up to the car, if you can, go ahead. Yeah, you could call your parent, but keep the phone on the dashboard where
That's
they can
good.
see it. Don't have it on the side of you. Don't have it on the other side of you. Don't have it on the floorboard. Have it on the dashboard because understand from an officer's point of view, when we're making a traffic stop, we can only see a little bit in that area anyway. And so when we don't see what we are supposed to, if we don't see what you're reaching for, then in our minds, we're thinking, oh, they're reaching for something else. That's how we're trained. And, you know, some people, we just don't know what type of officer you may be dealing with.
That's good.
We don't want you to be dealing with a trigger-happy officer and then someone ends up hurt. We don't want that at all.
Thank you so very much for that wisdom. So young people, did you hear, young people and parents, like, did you hear what he said? If you're going to grab your phone, put it on the dashboard before the officer gets out the car. If you about to get pulled over, get off the phone with your boo. If you're on the phone with your boo, get off the phone with your boo, call your mama and keep driving until you get to a safe place, call your mama, put that phone on the dashboard, put it on speaker. Put it on speaker and you talk clearly and loudly so that it's where the officer can see it, but your hands, like he said, your hands are on the steering wheel. All right?
Right. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Lionel, but
no, go ahead.
We're trained to say hands kill. Whatever a person they want to hurt an officer, they're gonna use their hands to do it. So always keep your hands where we can see it. That's so important. Keep your hands on the steering wheel, keep them on the dashboard or put them out the window. We have a lot of people nowadays, when I do traffic stops, they'll put them out the window and I say, hey man, I appreciate that, or hey, I appreciate you know, putting the hands out the window where I can see them. And you know, I'm trying to make sure that they okay and make sure that they calm because I don't want to rile nobody up because it's a sign of good faith until everything gets straightened out. We don't know. It's a whole lot of unknown factors when we're dealing with coming across people, and that could be on a traffic stop, that could be on anything. So make sure your hands are clear. Some guys, they try to be funny. They be like, hey man, I ain't doing that. They'll do like this. Whatever you got to do, make sure your hands are where the officer can see.
That's good. I appreciate you sharing that. Another question came in from Ms. Rogers, and she asks, why do these corrupt people keep getting positions of authority? And why does it take corrupt actions being recorded for something to happen about it? I think that's a really good question.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, we still live in this world. So we're dealing with a worldly system. Even as a police officer, I'm a Christian, and I deal with a worldly system of law enforcement. And when you're dealing with a worldly system, that means that people look out for other people when they shouldn't be looking out for them. They vouch for them when they shouldn't be vouching for them. And so it takes a lot. Officers like myself and a whole bunch of officers you may not even hear about. It takes a lot for us to make sure that our hearts stay clean, because we're actually trying to make the differences when it comes to stuff like this. We don't like it when corrupt officers get to keep doing what we're doing. Mm-hmm. We took an oath and we swore before God that we would serve and protect these people. So when they allow a corrupt officer to keep doing it, it makes all of us look bad. Now, I'm in Birmingham, but an officer could do something in LA and it's gonna make me look bad, because people gonna say, well, you know, they all together, and it's not like that. But unfortunately, people tie us in. It's just like if someone would say, well, you know, all black people, they thugs, they like to shoot at one another, they like to play their music loud in the car and smoke weed and all that. That ain't all of us.
That's right.
I don't smoke weed.
I don't smoke weed either.
I mean, I smell it.
Cigarette nor cigars.
But I don't smoke it. So, I mean, it's stuff like that. And we dealing with a worldly system because we still live in this world, but we can't conform to it.
That's
God
right.
commanded us not to conform to this world. And it takes courage not to conform to something that's been in place for a long time. It takes, you may losing friends, losing connections, but the thing about that is, whatever you do for God is only gonna last. Whatever you do for God, that's gonna last longer than how somebody feel about you or what someone's saying about you. I don't care if other officers are saying something about me when I know if I did something that is right. So
that's good. That's good.
That's what it is.
Hey, the questions are coming in, Martez, and so Officer Martez. So I want to get to the questions, and I know you had one more video. And family, whether you're on Zoom or whether you're on Facebook Live, we'll make sure that that video is captured on our website. So you can go to the Faith Chapel website and you'll be able to look at that last video, and it's a video about a student and a police officer, and how the police officers helped this student get to a place of graduating from high school. It's a really good video. We won't be able to get to it, but I want to get to you all, some of you all's questions. We have another question that says, why does it seem that the police narrative in America has confused disrespect for breaking the law? And so I think you kind of answered that, because we're in a fallen world. And so, and there are fallen people who are not redeemed, who just do what they want to do. And so they will make it look like what it really isn't anyway, to do what they want to do. But can you say something to that? And then I have another question from Facebook as well.
If they can they try to clarify the question? Because I'm trying to understand how to answer that correctly.
Like, so for example, if so they say meaning disrespect is not unlawful, but most officers use disrespect as a justification to arrest, hurt, or even kill Black people.
Gotcha. So disrespect is not an unlawful thing, but officers use disrespect to hurt or kill people, Black people. Okay. So it goes to, and the best way I'm trying to answer this is, a lot of officers, unfortunately, they have what we call egos, and they feel like, because I'm the police, you gonna respect me. And you should respect them. That's what we're talking about today. You should respect police officers. But what about a person who just chooses to disrespect the police officer? That person, when an officer chooses to hurt someone because they are disrespected, then that's wrong. That's wrong. Now, if the person is trying to harm the officer, then the officer has to protect him or herself. That's understandable. But if they just saying words, then no ma'am, no sir. That's not cool.
So what I'm hearing you say is, if my ego is involved, and so now you ain't gonna talk to me that way because I got this badge on.
Right. And I understand, and a lot of other officers, we understand when people are disrespecting us, it's not because they think we some pushovers. They disrespect the badge. They don't like what the badge stands for because the badge has hurt people, or the people who worn the badge before has hurt people, or they've done other things that they should have been doing. So now we're all grouped into that one little nucleus of officers. All officers are bad, and that's not true. So you're absolutely right. Whoever asked that question, it's not right for an officer to hurt someone just basically because they disrespected them. They said something to them out the way. You're right.
That's good. That's good. And we got one more question from Facebook, and then we'll transition. But it says, so what's the advice for students when the authorities mistreat them or hurt them in the situation? A lot of situations go bad when people feel like they are being disrespected because a lot of kids are taught to defend themselves.
Good question. Okay, when you feel like you're disrespected, and I'm gonna give you all the things that I could think of that will help you out. If you feel like you're disrespected, or you need to take it as, someone needs to know that an officer disrespected you or hurt you, go to the precinct where you're in and talk to a supervisor. Ask to speak to a supervisor. Say, hey, I was disrespected by this officer. I may not know their badge number or their car number, but if you could tell them what street you was on, or you could tell them where you was at, then we're able to pinpoint where you were and which officer dealt with you. And then they'll probably call the officer in, they'll look at their body cam, and if there's any complaints or anything like that, anything that's valid, saying, oh, you disrespected this person. Why you disrespected them? Or they just, let's just say they cuss you out for no reason. Just use profane language with you. Go to the precinct, speak to the supervisor, they'll look at the body cam, and then we'll go from there. On the other side of that, like we've already talked about, make sure, if you have your phone out, make sure it's already out before the officer approaches the vehicle. Have your phone on record. Even if you can't see anything, make sure it's picking up good audio. Make sure it's picking up good audio. Or if you're on the phone with your mom, make sure that, your mom can hear everything. Like, once again, make sure it's on speaker. Make sure that they can hear everything. If it just doesn't seem like that anything is coming across on both ends, like it's not really getting any traction, then take it a step further. Go to an attorney, let them know what was going on. Let them know, hey, I want to, and this is more so for the parents, let them know, hey, my child was involved in this situation, X, Y, Z. Let them know the details and go from there. Because just getting mad and like I said, capping off, that's not good, because we don't know what type of officer you may be dealing with. Don't go off at the mouth. Don't just say, well, my baby this, my baby that, and da-da-da. You're not going to get that done. I'm telling you, police are going to be like, man, whatever, go on to the next situation. So I want to help you all out the best as I could.
I appreciate you being real, and because you always have been. And I want to say this because we got one last question on Zoom. I think it's a great question. Hey, I know some of you are middle school students, and you may be thinking, what does this traffic stop, this driving thing got to do with me? Hey, listen, if you in middle school, and you have an older sibling, or you in the car with your grandparents, your uncle, your mom, your dad, this can happen while you're in the car with them. So do not miss this opportunity as a middle schooler to listen and even tell your mama or your daddy who may be grabbing for a phone when the police come to be like, mama, I learned in church, do not grab for your phone.
Right.
Mama, put your hands on the steering wheel. I learned this from church. Or even grandmama, put your hands on the steering wheel, grandmama. Put your hand, so middle schooler, don't think that this is not connected to you. You're not driving yet. And we believe that we'll have more seminars like this when you get to the age of driving, but this can work. Or even if you're in the car with your cousin, so do not miss the wisdom that's coming to you right now. This last question, Officer Martez, and then we gotta go. And I'll do the invitation and all that, Omari and stuff like that. But this Ms. Joseph asked this question. Basically she's saying, how can I drive to a safe place if an officer comes behind me? How can I drive to a safe place without the officer thinking that we're going on a high-speed chase?
Got a great example for you. I'm trying to make it quick. I had a traffic stop 2-3 days at work. The person kept going, they kept going, and they drove through the alley and pulled up at their apartments. Don't do that. Don't ever do that because we don't know who you may be on the phone with somebody, man, the car's behind me, go ahead and come out. And I'm telling you, this is how we train. The safest thing to do is, let's say you're on the side of a gas, just pull into the gas station. Or you may be passing a beauty supply store, just pull into the parking lot of the beauty supply store. Make the safest stop off of, if you're on a busy street, just turn to the next right or the next level, wherever you may be, and let the officer know that, hey, I acknowledge you, I see your blue lights, I see your sirens, well, I hear you on the loudspeaker, you telling me to turn left, you turning right, when they stop you, if you're not already on the phone, depending on whether or not the officer came out, like we already said, you can get on the phone, record, or call your mama, make sure your hands are out the window, make sure your hands are on the steering wheel, just make sure that your hands are where we can see them. And yeah, please make sure you just turn into a safe spot. It don't have to be all the way 5 blocks down. It's gonna be a turn coming over. Just pull over to the side of the road. Just pull over to the side of the road. That's fine.
This was absolutely incredible, Officer Packer. I thank you for, first of all, being such a godly man first, and then taking who you are into your environment and on your job. I appreciate it so very much. I want to say thank you so very much for breaking it down for us and helping all of us from the oldest to the youngest.
Wow, wasn't that an amazing message? If you want any resources as it relates to Faith Chapel students, our parents, download our Faith Chapel app. You will find everything you need to know about Faith Chapel. Well, hey, my time is up. We believe that the Word of God is the answer for teenagers too. God bless you and have a great day.